Hi, everyone. I'm Laura Atherton with Unlock Success by Real Laura. I'm super excited to be coming on today, especially with this topic, which is for real estate professionals. So, I always ask myself, what is a real estate professional or a real estate expert? Honestly, I think part of that for me is still lifelong learning. I don't know that I'll ever actually call myself an expert or a professional, but I have been involved for over 20 years. Myself and my husband, Phil, pictured in the background, have had our own rentals for, like I said, going on 20 years, and mostly in Calgary, Alberta. So that's my focus for the most part, although I have a lot of experience in other provinces as well. We have just over 80 units currently, and that's with a mix between independently owned, partnerships, and joint ventures. So I have a lot of experience in different styles. Believe you me, for us to grow, certainly from zero to over 80. We've had a lot of experience in different styles of mortgages, different types of lending. So I think that we have a lot to offer. So I'm excited to welcome you all today to join in our real estate expert mini, where I hope to share some information for you as professionals, where I can help you and your clients be more successful in real estate investing. So I'm going to share my screen and just kind of get into what we have to offer you today. So Unlock Success events. So I'll share a little bit more about kind of what we do, and my values really ultimately is around building the most success, success for you, the most success for your clients. We want to make sure that people achieve what they're looking for, and then you have repeat and happy clients. That's what we want. I always say, it's great to get a super deal in real estate, but it'd be a lot better if everybody was succeeding. And so we've seen a lot of that over the years, and I hope that you find some value out of what I can share today. So, initially, getting into who we are, I've shared a little bit about who Phil and I are, what type of properties that we've kind of had over the years, a lot of experience that we've had as real estate investors, and definitely that continued learnings that we're obviously, I find as soon as I think that I've got it all figured out, there's something else that throws me a loophole. So let's kind of get into how you'll get the most value today. So I do want to discuss a little bit about our group, our Unlock Success membership. This is how I believe that you and your clients will get the most value. We have great opportunities for networking, social events, continuous learning. So if you want to scan to get into this membership, there are some deep discounts currently still being offered. And what this is going to give yourself, your clients, is that one-to-one contact with me. So hopefully I can add some value, and you'll see the consulting will be a support to your clients. Also, we have lots of special pricing, discounts, even free tickets. So as we get into some of our offerings later on, this might be another avenue to be able to get, that good content regularly, and the continuous learning as I share. This will bring you in as part of our Wealth Builders community on our Facebook group. As well as, like I had mentioned, we have some networking and social events if you're here in Calgary. So our agenda today is quite large. So as I got into thinking about what I had to offer real estate professionals, I was actually surprised at how big the agenda started to become. So obviously on each of these topics, I could do an entire 30 to 45 minutes. And we don't have that much time today. So what I thought is the best value for everybody on today or watching the replay would be to just simply, we'll go through, I'm going to do a little bit more of a deep dive on the top three, and just do a quick kind of touch base on the remaining items. And this is basically going to frame us up for ongoing learning. So we're going to do a lot more of these. So I'm excited to have you come on and start to learn and see that hopefully we can work together and add lots of value. So we'll get into our first part of our agenda is around building our power team. So when I think about, building that power team, it's something Phil and I, we're very lucky, I guess, coming together. I guess opposites attract. So we think about, relational. I talk a lot about relational and values and these kinds of streams that make things work. Phil and I are definitely opposites. So thank goodness in our business, it works really well. I am, essentially the budget's and boring. I do a lot of the analysis, although we both share in that role. Thank goodness Phil is handy. So he handles the general contracting, maintenance. He handles that whole side of our team, which is very valuable given that you don't want to see me pick up a hammer or with any tools. It's just definitely not my skill set. My skill set is more in the back end, office, communication, numbers, all that really super fun stuff, right? And then bringing on Megan in our team as well has been absolutely huge for us. It allows me to start to get out of the day-to-day and have somebody who's able to manage all of the administration, tenant communications. It's so shocking. And I don't know how many of you, I'm sure, super busy real estate professionals, just managing the inbox on the email can be so extreme. I find now the amount of communication that we have, whether that's in text, phone calls, emails, you name it, that just trying to keep on top of all of that can be, is essentially a full-time job, isn't it? So we have lots of kind of tools in looking at those things. So when I think about building your team, I've done a number of different trainings, and this is, like I said, I don't even know if I could do 30 to 45 minutes do this justice. I do a full training around that importance of building team. Phil and I at one point purchased a property in Ontario. We're originally from there. The numbers were actually looking good at the time. We did our deal analysis. I thought I had everything figured out, of course. And the piece that we'd greatly forgotten about there was that we didn't have a team in Ontario. And it was also, I found very difficult to build a team without scale. So when you only have one property in one area, and that's one of the things that I talk about in deal analysis as well for yourself and for your clients around how are we going to manage, how are we going to mitigate costs, what are we going to be able to do to provide that the most support and cash flow at the same time on a property, especially when people are starting out and may only have one or two properties. So you want to look at, all of those aspects. So now in hindsight, I actually put the team first. So that's why it's number one in kind of our conversation today is without team. Now that doesn't need to be in-house. So without team, I find that your business is not going to be successful. Now, of course, we can have that team and have that with a multitude of different subcontractors. We have a huge amount of different partnerships and people that we work with. I'm certainly not hiring every role of this into our house. We're very small at this point, mostly Phil and I. Megan, we have some great maintenance staff coming on team right now. So we're generally, I would say, 3 to 6 people has been kind of what's been working for us currently as we grow. But that's not the size of the whole team. If I were to sit and think about the entire team, we're probably about 25. And it's interesting because as I look through this list, it is just not even close to what we cover. The amount of when I go through the roles to think about who do you need and how many of them do you need? So for example, when I think about maintenance, obviously we have plumbers, we have HVAC, we have roofers, we have electrician. So on those, I have my key preferred, and this is a whole training, like I said, where I go through how to build the relationships with those preferred contractors, how to set up those preferred rates when you can scale. That's something we do for a lot of our clients as well, is share those preferred rates with the relationships we've already built. That's probably one of the biggest things we can offer with our membership is that it actually will include the relationship with our key contacts. That in itself, especially on a small landlord, is going to be incredibly valuable. And as we built that out, so for example, if you only have one property and you can build a great relationship with a plumber, but hopefully you don't have a lot of plumbing issues, and therefore you don't call that plumber for a year, you're not really going to have a relationship. So it's kind of twofold, is how do we build relationship while small? So that's kind of what we're hoping to solve that problem through our Unlock Success, through our membership and contacts, that we can maybe solve that problem for you and for your clients. And I think about that across the board of every relationship, rather in property management, those landlords wanting to do their own management. We have obviously a lot of great relationships with property managers, but we also do a lot of training and support, which I'll talk about a little bit further. So getting into all of that, of course, one of the big questions you're going to hear from all of your clients is that, how is this going to work with taxes? What about accounting? Should I be incorporated or not? And so these are some big discussions. And thankfully, we have partners on our team that are well versed in this. Even with the legal side, I look at, okay, how much I can't know everything. That's what I even just started with is what is an expert? Well, to me, an expert is someone who knows how to ask the questions and knows when to ask for help. I like to do the continuous learning, but not to the degree that I'm going to hold all these roles. I think when I initially started, that was probably one of our big mistakes or key pieces was around holding all of these roles, myself and Phil, and it was very difficult. So knowing that you can't actually hold them all, but we also need to be aware of them and ensure something's in place. Again, there's so much more I could add on this. Collaboration across the teams, communication, ensuring that, we have people selected that meet our vision and values for our business and what we want to be as landlords. Oftentimes we've heard people say, especially in the maintenance realm, oh, it's just a rental. Well, I actually see it completely the opposite. It's a rental, which means we have to do a higher grade. It's going to actually take more wear and tear, have higher occupancy. So we want to look at a better value, whether that's a faucet or an appliance or more durable paint, more durable flooring. So there's different types of specialty in each one of these areas. And so we look forward to helping you and your clients in this area, as well as, all of them. But just that main piece of starting the team or having people behind you is so, so, so important for success, ultimately for the real estate. So we'll carry on and see what else I'm going to share with you today. I did want to mention about the book because we do have a whole chapter in there specifically on building the team. I've mentioned about the membership, also the book. This could be an easy way, a neat little realtor gift would be a great opportunity to have out for clients that are buying real estate property, that are buying investment property, that this is a great way of their guide to just kind of touch again, hopefully go a lot deeper into the surface. This is pretty much a 101 on landlording from start to finish. And it's really a lot of what I've been sharing in our own experience and making sure that hopefully people don't have to learn from our mistakes, or they can learn from our mistakes. They don't have to actually make those mistakes themselves. So I get this a lot, right? When you're looking at having a property for sale, and we often also even thought, wouldn't it be great to just have something perfect? It's already tenanted, that it's, completely business in the box, set it right up for a new landlord to just take on a property that's already tenanted and has everything in place. Yet in reality, that doesn't work, does it? Those of you that are listening, rather, currently live or on the replay, what does it really look like? It actually can look like quite a mess, can't it? And so oftentimes I know you're out there as professionals and you're not wanting to show properties that are tenanted. You're probably making recommendations to your clients to end the leases beforehand, even have the unit vacant, get a fresh coat of paint. We know it. I know we know what's going to be easier for all of us. As well as the opportunity for somebody to take on their own tenant instead of taking on a problem tenant, and so on and so forth, and all of the unknowns around tenanted properties. That being said, it's something that we can't always resolve. Sometimes you're going to have a tenanted property. So how can we do that well? So I've got a few neat tips. I'll give you my top secret tip. So just kind of giving it all out to give you as much value as possible. I'm sure you've heard this, but our big piece is sharing with those current tenants that this is their opportunity to show a potential new landlord. So if they want to continue living in the property, we often definitely share the fact that by them cooperating with viewings, having the property in excellent condition, clean, top notch, and doing all of these things makes it a lot easier for them to look great, that maybe their new landlord will want them to stay. So that's one of our big pieces around incentivizing tenants is, to me, no matter how many gift cards and dinners out and weekends away and scheduled pieces and working together, the biggest thing that I say is this is literally your interview with your potential new landlord. So how do you want to portray? Now, we know this causes stress. We know this causes stress coming into their home. It's very difficult. So if you've got a property with young families, we do exclusively pet-friendly rentals. So again, you've got a property with pets in the unit. All of these kinds of things can cause added issue around trying to be able to show those properties. So one of the big pieces around here is what can you do depending on what market. Sometimes looking at a weekend getaway can be huge. If you can be starting those showings from a Friday evening all day Saturday and the morning on the Sunday, even however that looks, that gives you lots of opportunity if that family is willing to go away or hopefully enjoys the opportunity to go. There's lots of great hotels pretty much anywhere, but I know here in Calgary, there's some really neat ones with some great slides and attractions. It can be a really fun weekend for that family and an opportunity for you to be able to get that that property shown without having them there. We also do all sorts of other things like offering a cleaner. So we'll send in a cleaner, a home organizer. Obviously, we do lots of gift cards and things like that. All of these kinds of things help ensure that the property is showing in the right way. We want to work with our tenants as part of the team. So offering pre-booked showing times. So if we know that they've got karate every Wednesday night, then we can already have a pre-approved Wednesday night between 5 and 7. We don't have to give an extra 24 hours notice. So having those times already set, that we already know that these 3 days a week for these 2-hour periods are set. So if somebody's coming and requesting last minute, we know that we can get people in through to see the property. So there's tons and tons of other ideas, which you guys could probably share tons with me on your experience. So I really am looking forward to building a relationship with you too, that I want to share some ideas and things that I have that I've seen that work really well, but I also really want to hear from you. There's lots that we want to build together so that again, the ultimate goal is for everybody's success, right? So have fun with it. I think if we know who the tenant is and we know what's going on, we can have some fun. Now, of course, that's on the light and easy side. If you are in a situation where it's a bad tenancy circumstance, maybe it is in the midst of going through a termination, maybe the property is really needing a full reno. I mean, again, that's where I'm going to ask you some questions around your marketing ability. Is this property already kind of incentivized based on the price due to some of those issues? What other ideas and things can we do working around? I don't believe in, and it'd be great to have you guys come on or listen to some of my other courses and things, because I don't believe in bad or good. There's no good tenants and bad tenants. There's just people and circumstance. And I really believe most things can be solved with good communication. Now, that being said, you could be coming into a situation where maybe that's long gone and it's long past, but you're still the new one on. And I think communicating with respect goes a long way. I think oftentimes just asking for a little bit of support, advising how much of a difference I think about the tenant. What can we do to make their life easier? How can we make this circumstance less difficult, less intrusive? So regardless of the situation, what can we offer them to make it a little bit easier on them? And then therefore they'll make it a little bit easier on us. That's some of my tips anyways. Hopefully it's helpful and you've got something out of that. So what about taking over existing tenants? So I've had so many conversations with so many realtors over the years and investors around this whole piece of like taking on an existing tenant, potentially taking on somebody else's problem, right? So when we think about this, how much information can we even get about the existing tenants? What are the risks around here? Now, when I was doing small residential, it was easy. We would really look for properties for vacant possession. We looked for fixed term leases that we knew were going to be ending within a period of time. I think our first part of our career as a real estate investor was for the most part only ever taking vacant properties. We were terrified to consider taking over existing tenants. Everything I teach was taken away. At that point, I'm literally being given somebody that I have no idea who they are or anything about them. And why would the existing landlord even tell me the truth about if they've been a good tenant or good payer of rent? But then when you move into larger properties, even fourplexes, it can get difficult to meet. Those other landlords aren't going to have the whole fourplex empty generally. So they might be moving towards it, but you may be in a situation where you're taking possession and there is already, maybe one unit is empty, but the other three, and kind of when is that lease coming up? So when we look at how you're going to manage, everything is different based on that circumstance, right? When you get into multifamily, there's no way you're not even considering, nor do you even want vacant possession, because at that point, you're not going to be able to get your funding right. We'll get into financing briefly afterwards, but I mean, all of these things come together and everything is different. I am here to coach you and your client in these situations. We don't have to be scared of them, but we do have to have some knowledge. And that's part of why I started this with the whole showing and how things look. Because to be honest, I know pretty quickly, I've been in the game for a while. I know pretty quickly if I want to keep that tenant or not. So with that, then I'm next mitigating what's the issue. So let's use a bad example. Let's say that a tenancy doesn't look good, the place is a mess. We're not happy with that existing tenant. Are they in a fixed term or a periodic? This is incredibly important. I want you guys to pay attention to this because everybody has them on month to month, thinks that's going to be the easiest thing. But in that case, if they're on a periodic month to month, it is the seller that has to give the notice, not the buyer. I see this happen a lot where the seller doesn't want to do it. They don't want to give those notices. The buyer cannot. It needs to be the seller. So just making sure that we're aware of that. It needs to be 90 days. It needs to be from the 1st, not from the 15th. Unless their rental is from the 15th to the 15th, and that's how they pay their rent, it has to be from the 1st for 90 days. So when we're looking at those time periods, again, this is something that I spent a lot of time and energy in. It's something I want to be able to help you with and with your clients to make sure it's being done correctly. And because otherwise they could end up in a real mess where they're stuck with a tenant that maybe they didn't want on a periodic term. There's no way to easily end that. Whereas in Alberta, we're lucky with our fixed terms, they have an end date. So to be honest, if I'm going to take on a tenant, I prefer a fixed term, even though I know owners are advised when they're selling a property to have the tenants on month to month, if not vacant, right? But from an investor perspective, I have some different reasons why a fixed term is actually easier because I actually know when the end date is. It can actually take some of the stress out of it to some degree. Anyways, there's lots of opportunities on both, and we can work with both. And it doesn't mean that that tenant can't stay. I like to think about it as almost like a honeymoon period. What is that tenant going to be like during that period? That notice period, if it's 90 days on a periodic, that doesn't mean that I can't, as a new owner, offer a lease if things are going well. With on a fixed term, once we know that date, again, we can offer our lease renewals. Obviously, this falls back into our full training. Those of you property managers on will know this really, really well. And same with getting into your addendums, your notice of landlord. I mean, those things, again, my main area of expertise is Alberta real estate that I'm sharing about, but I can go over these details, of course. And I would say get in contact with your local tenant board. For any of these, if you are doing sales in another province, I would say definitely just reach out to that local tenant board. Make sure you understand the rules specifically on what's going to happen with taking over an existing tenant during the sale of a property. Addendums and landlord notices. I know in Alberta, we need to have that notice of landlord out within, believe it's 24 hours of purchase. So that needs to get out right away, that those tenants do know how to reach the new landlord. And I include an addendum with some of our details and rules, things that just are a little bit specific to how we run our business, how they reach us, how they report maintenance concerns, non-smoking, all the really fun stuff, right? And then how do we start to build that relationship and those strategies? Also looking at the move out, especially, I mean, again, it's hard to do this in a brief time. I can do this whole session on this in itself, which we'll have that coming out for you guys later, because just on the move out strategies alone, there's so many tips and tricks that I'd love to be able to share with you guys. So as I had said, I can't go through all 8. We would definitely be here all day, and I actually look forward to doing that with you future. We'll be sending some details on some courses that are be coming up for you and for your clients, all specific to their needs, we hope. So deal analysis, obviously, I just wanted to touch that this is something that I can help you with your clients as well. One of our big ticket pieces is identifying under rented properties. That's something we can help a lot, looking at opportunities for cost savings. So we're thinking about how do we create cash flow, and we can actually assist with some specific terms in navigating that offer to purchase. So some of the negotiations and things, I know you're the experts on that, but there's certain terms for real estate investors that are key that I'd love to be able to share with you guys. So do reach out to me as well one-on-one, especially if you've got something going on now that I can help with. But do stay tuned. There'll be an opportunity to make sure that you sign up so that you get more information about what we've got coming up next. Landlord training. So this is something else that we offer. So when you think about, our goal of ongoing long-term support for our clients, for our new landlords, even if they're seasoned landlords, there's a lot that we can offer. So we do have the one-to-one consulting. We do offer a lot of property support services. We're not property managers, but we do have some great connections with property managers as well. But there's a lot of support, especially for the self-managing landlord. We've adopted an administrative system where we can provide essentially from beginning to end support for that landlord who wants to handle it themselves with a helping hand. We have a great platform that we're working with as well that helps generate and run through your leads when when you're looking at tenant selection. That's something that's going to be key for you property managers there, and I'd love to be able to connect you with that software as well. So there's a number of pieces regarding, it may be a landlord toolbox, but some of this stuff really is going to be good for you as property managers as well. We've got all the resources, worksheets, that's all included in part of our our membership. And of course, there's always the training. Renovations and legal suites. Again, another key area that we've been an expert on. Thank goodness. My husband, again, has taken the big piece on this, although I'm pretty good on the administrative background with the city permits and processes and all of that. And so definitely that's something that we can share and help with your clients. So if you've got clients looking at units with an illegal suite in Calgary, we can definitely help with that. If they're wanting to build a legal suite, different things, again, around that cash flow. This is definitely our expertise. Part of how we got to where we are now with, over 80 units was by adopting these policies. So we legalized many, and have supported probably over 150 legalizations in Calgary. So this is something that I would say we have a great amount of expertise in that we would be happy to help add more value. Financing and mortgage improvement stuff. I know you all have your top mortgage brokers and key mortgage people that you're working with. Maybe some of you listening today also are, real estate professionals on the mortgage side. We want to work with you. This is not about, again, even the same way on the roles. I am not the expert. I have a lot of experience, and I have a lot of people on my team as well, thankfully, that are the experts in these areas. But again, in order for us to reach as far as we did, we have had to use a number of different type of products, from traditional to private. Also, when we're looking into multifamily, there's a lot of knowledge and awareness, and like I said, key contacts that we have on our team to get in and help in on those pieces. I know you have a lot of these as well. Let's share that information and ensure our clients are getting what they need. I literally just had a client the other day advising that they were told in order to buy their next real estate investment property, they had to sell their house. I'm like, how is that going forwards? That's totally going backwards. So let's see how we can help and ensure that they can get the right financing support, and knowing that there's other options out there, because I was surprised that some still don't really know, besides going to the mainstream bank, that there's so many other options for financing for investors, right? And for investors, we do need to be, a little bit more open to different types of products. It's not, the mainstream banks don't like us as much once we get past, what is it, five properties or so. So this is an area that I can support very deeply, and we will do a whole session. I'm actually looking forward to maybe in one of our sessions bringing on a key mortgage broker, and we'll kind of go through a lot of these details. We've got an expert panel coming up for those that are in the Calgary area. I will keep you updated on the date for that. And this is something that we can dive into really deeply. I know the CMHC products for multifamily are really popular right now. And so I'd love to be able to put something on an expert panel to help answer your questions about all of that. So keep that in mind, that I'll have that coming out for you soon. So that's upcoming learnings. I talked a lot about the different courses coming up. Please make sure utilize the QR code. I'll just move my little head out of the way to make sure that you can take a picture of the QR code and do that. It's just going to bring you right now to all we're doing is pre-registration, just getting, people that are interested on the list. We're just about to drop the dates on these courses. So they are literally coming out next month. And I'm super, super excited. We're going to do them, web-based. So it's going to be easy for you and for your clients to attend. We're going to try to cut them up into bite-sized pieces, similar to what today's length has been, although we'll be going into a deep dive into each one of these topics. So I hope you've gained a lot out of today already. This is me. I'm Real Laura. I love real estate. I love talking about real estate and finance, anything around these things. I want to help people build and grow wealth. And so I'm really excited to get to know everyone and have you on with us today. And really just thank you so much for attending. Do visit our website. Follow us on Facebook. Send me an email. As we're just building these courses and putting things together, I'd love to hear from you on, are there some specific pain points or challenges that I haven't covered that you'd like to see happen? I'm happy to share it. Obviously, if I have the expertise or if somebody on my team has the expertise. Again, we all have the same vision and goal of just having people be successful in their real estate and happy, building that wealth, having a great life for their families. And I believe we can do that through real estate investing. I'm so glad you came on today or you're listening to the replay, and I hope you have a fantastic day and do reach out.